Now we will discuss how we can solve existing issues in explicit wait implementation with Enum. So you know that there was issue with the explicit wait here, right? This is base test. Where are our page layers? Yeah. In the base page, we can see that we had this waiting strategy, but then we were using clickable and everything, right? So uh, hence we use that wait strategy. So how did we use the wait strategy? We was just pass this wait strategy here in the wait strategy, and we just gave it wait strategy equal to wait strategy dot clickable. Okay, so this we have already seen, like we did this. Okay, so there is no issue as such with this, but what if I want to like increase, like I want to add more cases to it? So then again I have to do it here also, and then this method, send keys, this method is also there. We are repeating, we are basically repeating the code, right? So how can we handle this? So we will first of all we will create this. So initially it was just clickable, right? We had just string clickable. So we repeated it with wait strategy dot clickable. I think I have not told you that. So first we will create enum called wait strategy, and there we will put all these methods, right? Clickable, presence, visible, and none. Why we are doing this is because initially when we were doing this coding, we saw that okay, we were passing string here. It was string and then waiting strategy, and here we were giving clickable or things like. But someone can give click also and clicking also. So to handle that, we want to give them only certain things that they can give. So that's why we came up with this strategy, right? Where we gave wait strategy, and then wait strategy we passed here. Okay, and then wait strategy dot clickable. If it is equal to this, it would execute this, right? Otherwise this. But then we saw that with this, so we one more thing is, why did we add none? So sometimes it happens that on the same page you have username and password. We don't want to wait, right? So that's why we will put it as none also in some cases, right? So we want to define this particular method at a place as at a separate place. So one is to remove the repeatability, and second is to make it scalable, right? So we will create uh, okay, so once we did this, right, so where is it being used? So let me first complete this. So then we are using it as across page layers, right? So here what we did initially, we were giving clickable, present, right, like that. This was like clickable. Here we were giving like this, clickable. But here if there is spelling mistake, then it can create an issue, right? So that's why what we did was we defined this wait strategy, and only certain elements would be allowed. So here if you're doing wait strategy dot, so see, only 4 elements are there that you can use, right? And here you can't pass something like this. If someone passes like this, it would throw an error, right? So see, this is throwing an error. Okay, it's saying method, change the method. We don't want to change that, right? So that's why we give it clickable like this. Okay, so now the user has to do it. Okay, now going to the, now we were talking about how we can optimize this particular thing, right? How we can optimize it. So we defined one factory called com dot orgname dot factories, and then explicit wait factory. Here what we did was, if wait strategy clickable, then we were trying to do wait element clickable by, right? We were doing this wait for element clickable. We don't need this method now. We just removed it. Okay, we don't need it. I mean, we can use it, but the better way to do is just forget about this for now. New WebDriver wait, we did this duration of framework.get implicit wait until expected condition element to be clickable. Similarly for this, we did the same thing, right? And for none, what we did was driver.get driver fine, because directly we want to fetch it. There was one more reason why we wanted to do this, because here, yeah, just a second. Base page, yeah. Even after waiting for that element, it is again searching for that element. See, it is again searching. Even after doing this, it is again searching for this element. Why do we need to do that again? So we do not need to do that again. So that's why over here, as soon as the element is clickable, so this will return an element. Okay, this will also return an element until method will return an element. So if we give it like this strategy, the string, if I give it, if I make it string, okay, so and check this, okay, it will say change type of element to web element. See, so because it is returning a web element, so this is the reason. And once you have returned the web element, this is also returning the web element, and this main method is returning the web element. So now this can, now what we do is we go to the base page, we go check here, we just remove this code, right? We can just remove this code, and then this also we can remove. Right, web element, and here because it is returning perform explicit wait, right, what is it returning? An element. So we can directly send keys. Instead of this, we can directly do dot send keys str. There is some issue. Yeah, okay, so what's the issue now? Let me check, where did I do wrong? This is element, right?
It's 9 o'clock.
So here dot send keys, and here str. What does it say? And then we can remove this, right? So this can be done. So here we have done this, and here also we can remove this thing. We got it, right? Because we don't want, it returns this perform explicit returns an element, so that's why we can click here. Yeah, so that's it, I think. Yeah, so this one we have done, right? So then one more thing we have to do is, now since we have these elements, now what about the properties file? So someone, for example, over here in the get function, in the base page, if we go, no, in the driver method, if we go here, we are trying to do URL, right? Configuration, here it was initially this, it was something like this, URL. So someone may pass some wrong value here, right? Website URL or something like that. So we don't want that. Is that right? So what we can do here? So we have defined a class called ConfigProperties in the Enum. So what we have to do is, in ConfigProperties, if you go, where is it? Test resources, config.properties. You can see that this URL is there, right? And browser. So once you create these properties here, whatever values you are there in the config properties, you have to put it here, because you will drive it from here. You will get it from here. You don't want them to change, right? So that's the purpose of enum. So how can we do that? So once we go through the driver, we see that okay, this is the thing, and then in the utils we have this property utils. I change it to property utils from read property file because it is gonna do other things also. So here what we do is key, in the key, while we were passing key, what I did was, this was string key, right? We were getting string here. It was something like that, string key. So we don't want that. We want to get it from the config properties key, right? So then why we want to get it is because we want to get the right key. We don't want people to use the different keys. So what we'll do, key dot name dot to lowercase, we'll change it to lowercase, right? And then we will again to lowercase we will do, and then it will check, it will get the key, capital URL, we make it into a small URL, and then it will try to return from the map, it will try to get map.get key.name to lowercase. Okay, so this is how, and here we will give it a comment that always use, please provide in lowercase. So here it will get the, so technically it will get it from the, technically it will get, map will put the values, right? It will put the values here, whatever values are there it will put, right? Here we have seen input stream property dot load, and then a key set, we'll put it in a key set, add all the values, right? Trim the value of it. So whatever key is there, so from the key what will pass in the properties, because whenever you're getting a get, it will ask you this config properties value, not a string value. So you will have to put it from here dot URL. Once you put, it will check. Okay, to lowercase, does the, is it null? Is it null? Map.get, is it null? So it will throw an error, because here also it is getting through map only. See, right? Key should also be not be null, and value should also not be null. Okay, so that it will check, and here return map.get, it will get the key if these both are okay. So this will ensure that this is there, right? So let's try to implement this in your framework, and you should be good to go. Okay, but you have to ensure that you're not putting anything in higher case in the property file configuration. You should always put it in the lower case, because while it is getting, trying to get map.get lowercase, it will always try to get the lowercase value. Okay, here also it will try to get the lowercase. So you need to make sure that you're showing the right value, right? Okay, thank you.